What if I told you that New York City, the beating heart of America, wasn't even born in America? Imagine this: the towering skyline, Wall Street, the yellow cabs, Times Square, none of it would exist without the faraway city of Amsterdam. Before it was New York, it was New Amsterdam, a place where commerce, not freedom, laid the foundation for one of the world's greatest cities. This isn't just a name change, it's a story of ambition, rivalry, and a forgotten identity. So, how did Amsterdam give birth to New York? Let's find out. You're watching Histoveins. In the early 1600s, while England and Spain dominated the world stage, there was a small but powerful nation rising fast, the Dutch Republic. At its heart, Amsterdam. Within a few decades, it became the center of global trade. Wealth flowed in from the east via the Dutch East India Company, and from the west through the Dutch West India Company. These weren't just companies, they were empires with sails, commanding armies, navies, and colonies, all with one goal: world domination through trade. Across the Atlantic, untouched land lay waiting vast forests, rivers, and fur-bearing animals. The Dutch saw opportunity. In 1609 they hired English explorer Henry Hudson to find a shortcut to Asia. He didn't find it, but what he did find was a glittering river flowing deep into the continent. That river? The Hudson River. Fast forward to 1624. The Dutch send settlers to a small island at the mouth of the Hudson. To the native Lenape people it was called Mannahatta. To the Dutch it was a perfect location, a gateway between the river and the Atlantic. The fur trade and European expansion beckoned. They called it New Amsterdam. It wasn't about freedom, it was about profit. It wasn't a country, it was a corporate colony. The Dutch West India Company ran the show. The governor didn't answer to a king but to a board of directors in Amsterdam. The colony was all about business, not liberty. In 1626, Peter Minuit famously purchased Manhattan for 60 guilders, about $24 in silver. They built windmills for grain, forts for defense, churches for Reformed Protestants, and lots of taverns. And that wooden wall they built? It eventually became Wall Street. New Amsterdam grew, attracting people from all over: Dutch, Germans, Scandinavians, Africans, and Jews. It became one of the most diverse cities of its time. But the colony wasn't without problems. Poor governance, constant clashes with local tribes, and more. And there was another threat looming to the south. By the 1660s, the Dutch Republic was a global power. But while Amsterdam focused on trade, Britain was preparing for war. In 1664, King Charles II of Britain set his sights on New Amsterdam. Why? Because it was strategically placed between New England in the north and Virginia in the south. It was the missing piece for a united British Atlantic coast. So 4 British warships arrived in New Amsterdam's harbor, carrying hundreds of soldiers with secret orders, seized the Dutch colony without delay. The Dutch governor Peter Stuyvesant was caught off guard. He wanted to fight, but the people of New Amsterdam were tired. They were frustrated with the company's mismanagement, heavy taxes, and endless conflicts with native tribes. So, when the British demanded surrender, the citizens begged Stuyvesant to give up without a fight. On September 8, 1664, the British took control. They renamed the colony in honor of King Charles's brother, the Duke of York, and just like that, New Amsterdam became New York. But the Dutch weren't done yet. In 1673, during a brief war between England and the Netherlands, the Dutch took back New York and renamed it New Orange, New Orange, in honor of their prince. However, in 1674, under the Treaty of Westminster, the Dutch gave the colony back to Britain for good. Why? Because the Dutch were offered something even more valuable: the island of Run, part of the Spice Islands in modern-day Indonesia. It had a nutmeg monopoly. To the Dutch, nutmeg was more valuable than Manhattan. Fast forward to the American Revolution, 1775 to 1783. By now, New York was a bustling British colony. When the 13 colonies rose up against British rule, New York became a key battleground. It was occupied by the British for most of the war, the longest-held city. But after 8 years of struggle, America won its independence. On November 25, 1783, British troops finally left New York. That day is remembered as Evacuation Day, the moment the American flag replaced the British one. From then on, New York belonged to the United States of America. So, the next time you walk the streets of New York, remember this. New York isn't just an American city, it's a Dutch creation, layered with British conquest and immigrant dreams. Long before the Statue of Liberty stood in the harbor and before Ellis Island opened its gates, there stood a Dutch trading post, carved into a wild land by merchants, sailors, and settlers from Amsterdam. New York wasn't born American, it was made American, but it was born Dutch. You're watching Histoveins, where history flows deep beneath the surface. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories buried in time. Until next time, keep your veins open to history.